Today I'm going to talk about clean spaces and clean minds. When I travel to any city, any town or a village, I'm always looking out for signs of development. We all are probably. And we see new roads, buildings, residential buildings, commercial buildings coming up, malls, etc. And it makes us feel proud. But within these spaces, we find I've seen heaps of garbage lying around. You've seen it all. And young men and women, boys and girls, are sifting through the garbage, sorting them with their bare hands. And we have done a great job in cities of collecting garbage. But transporting them, sorting them, and storing them is another story. There is this landfill in Delhi called Ghazipur. It's just 30 minutes away from the city center. And it's a mountain which is 50 feet tall. And it came in the news recently because last year it was on fire for 3 days and 3 nights. It was spewing fume and noxious gases into the already polluted environment of Delhi. And as if that was not enough, a part of it came down tumbling, like a landslide or a trash slide in this case, and swept away two motorcyclists in a car into the canal, and a person died. This is one of the four dumping sites for Delhi, and three of them are well between 40 to 48 meters. The Qutub Minar itself is 72 meters, and the restriction on the height is 15 to 20 meters. So one of the dumps only manages to achieve this. Once this reaches the dumping ground, it's again sorted by boys, girls, men, women, and you can see they have no protection. It's with bare hands, bare feet, no gloves, no, you know, boots, masks, etc. And they are exposed to some of the worst kinds of waste that a city can produce. The other thing is, below our city, millions of liters of sewage is passing through hundreds of thousands of meters of sewage pipelines every day, emptying into rivers, ponds, etc. And if you're lucky, in a sewage treatment plant. But it gets stuck because of the kind of stuff that goes into the sewage lines, and someone has to clean it. So, what does the municipal corporation do? It hires manual scavengers to get into the sewer lines, and they just go in a loincloth or something. They have no equipment, and they have to fish out the stuff which is clogging the lines by hand. And this is one of the most obnoxious materials a human being can come in contact with. And it is extremely dangerous. It produces gases like methane, sulfur dioxide, nitrous oxide, carbon monoxide, and people die. So to give you an example, just in Mumbai between 2010 and 15, 1,386 people died. And the highest number was in 2010, 322. And in 2014 alone, 93 people died. This is just Mumbai. Imagine the remaining five metros, B level cities, C level cities, way down in all the places you have sewer lines. So this number easily would cross thousands of people per year. And it seems we are okay with it. Just launching the Chandrayanas to, map the moon and launching 104 satellites in one go. But we have not come up with simple solutions to cleaning our sewer systems. And why is that? Is it something going on in our minds? Another problem, open defecation, which जिसे हिंदी में कहते हैं कि खुले में जाके शौच करना. India has a problem, and let me give you a context to it. In 2015, of all the people who were defecating in the world, in the open, 60% came from India. So it was one of our biggest contributions. And that year again, 54% of the rural households did not have a toilet. So they could explain why they were defecating in the open. However, the remaining 46% we would assume were using the toilet, right? But if a survey is to be believed,
I'm doing it only for 10 minutes.
the survey is called SQUAT, uh, uh, Sanitation Quality Utilization and Trend, found that of all the people who own a toilet, at least 40% of those households, one person in the household was still defecating in the open, if not more or all. So having a toilet doesn't mean you do not defecate in the open. In countries like Bangladesh, Nepal, and sub-Saharan African countries, Latin America, they're poorer than us, they have less education than us. but they have much lower levels of open defecation. So why is this? It's a puzzle. Now, I'm going to skip this. I'm going to completely go to something else. I'm going to talk about a practice of untouchability. So, what is untouchability? So, untouchability is when upper caste Hindus behave in a particular manner with lower caste Hindus. So, what is the practice? They won't eat with them. They won't.
I do. I can, but I don't want to.
Dine with them. They won't marry them. They are not supposed to enter temples, draw water from certain ponds, wells, hand pumps, etc. Uh, walk certain roads in the village. So that is the practice. But this was banned by the Constitution 1955 under the Anti-Untouchability Act. So we are curious: does this practice still continue? So we tried to find out. So in 2011-12, a survey happened called the India Human Development Survey. And in that survey, the respondent households were asked two questions. The first question was, does any member in your family practice untouchability? Yes or no? If they said yes, we recorded that. If they said no, then a follow-up question was asked, which was that would it be okay if someone who's an untouchable or from scheduled caste were to enter your kitchen or use your utensils? Again, seeking a yes or no response. Combining the responses from these two questions, we found that 30% in rural, 20% in urban, and on an average, 27% households all over the country accepted to the practice of untouchability. Now, you must remember this is a very sensitive question, it's a controversial question. When you put it to people on a face to face interviews, they are more likely to say no or give a politically correct answer. So, these are underestimates. This must be much more than what we have captured. Here is a kind of a map which shows the prevalence of the practice. The dark red areas, this is the district level map. The dark red areas show where more than 50% of households practice untouchability, and as the color gradation goes down, it goes from 40, 30, etc. So you can see the practices largely in the northern part of India. And there were questions in the parliament based on this, but obviously nothing happened. Now, we started thinking that the idea of cleanliness, I am pure, I keep myself clean, my house clean, but I'm okay with some level of dirt and pollution outside, is also similar to the idea of untouchability. I am pure, you're impure, I'm not going to touch you, let you near me. So, where are these two things coming from? What is the thought process going? Are they linked? So the data set I just mentioned, which asks every household whether they practice untouchability or not, they also ask them whether you defecate in the open or not. So for each household, we had both the data sets. So we tried to do some analysis. And what we found, so before I go further, there was another puzzle which we couldn't understand. This was that in states like Gujarat and Tamil Nadu, which are rich states, the level of open defecation is very similar to that in states like Bihar and UP, which are not so rich, they're poor states. However, states like in the northeast, which are poor, have very low levels of open defecation. So why was this? This was another puzzle. So we did some analysis, we did some study, and what we found was that first, as people's income rises, the level of open defecation goes down. However, if you have two groups of households, and they have same level of income, two groups of household having same level of income, but one group practices untouchability, another doesn't practices untouchability, we found the group that practices untouchability also practices more open defecation. Similarly, as the level of education in the households goes up, the practice of open defecation goes down. However, if you had two groups of households with same level of education, but one group practicing untouchability and one not, we found the group practicing untouchability also practiced more open defecation. At village level, in a village you have households, maybe none of the households practice untouchability, all of them practice untouchability. So the share of household goes from 0 to 100. No one practices untouchability, everyone practices untouchability. We found that as the share of households in villages increases, that means the number of households in the village practice untouchability increase, households practicing open defecation also increase. And finally, what we found was that the practice of OD, open defecation, varied across states of India. 50% of this variation was squarely only explained by variation in the practice of untouchability across the states. Thereafter, another 20% were explained by variation in the level of education. And after that, no matter what variable we use, income of household, poverty levels, their access to Narega, women's work participation rate, anything, nothing explained. So basically, we found really, really strong correlation, association between untouchability and open defecation. So, where is this coming from? What is the link? Why is untouchability a practice also explaining open defecation? And what we found is when the survey was done, the squad survey, people were asked this question: why don't you have a toilet in the house? They said we have a temple in the house. It's a it's a pure, spiritually and ritually pure place. How can we have a toilet which is defiling and polluting in this, ritually polluting in the same household or in the courtyard? So it's best to go as far away from the household to defecate and come back. That was one. Another problem was that the WHO prescribed toilets, which are used all over the world by people, where you do not have flush toilets or sewer lines, is a double pit toilet. And when one pit is filling up, the other is empty, and when one fills up, the other is opened. And the fecal sludge becomes manure. And everyone who uses this toilet all over the world removes this as compost and uses it in gardens and fields. But in India, this kind of work is not done by caste Hindus, because this is done by a particular caste of people, the untouchables or the Dalits. Now, these people are not willing to do this job anymore. They're leaving the villages. So, who will remove this? And the other misconception is that these are very small, these pits, and they'll fill up very fast. Whereas they last for 5, 6, 7 years, people have believed that they'll last for 1 or 2 years. So they are afraid that they'll have to clean them again and again. This is a government official who's trying to show it to the villagers that, see, this is not a taboo, it's a completely dry manure and it's harmless, trying to educate people. The other thing we realized was that open defecation is associated with masculinity. If you're a man, if you're a virile man, you can get up in the morning, you can go to the field, your limbs work, you take your dump, and you come back. And who uses the toilet? The children, the old people, the cripple. So if you're a virile, active man, you will defecate in the open. So all these things are also playing their part. I'll stop by giving a small example, a story of a student friend who went to America to study at UCLA, and he wanted to. He had an idea that India is producing millions of tons of manure and fecal sludge. It's free manure for farming. If farmers use it, it's cheaper, and farming becomes viable by that much amount. But when he came back to Karnataka to do his field study, he found farmers won't touch it. They said this is human fecal matter and we'll get polluted by it. Also, if we put it in our crops, it'll get into the food and then it'll get into us. Whereas they were perfectly okay with using cow dung as manure. So there's no notion of biology or science there. It's just belief. So what is my point? Basically, my point here is that when people defecate in the open, they do not use manure, human manure, or they do not worry about the garbage or practice untouchability. These are based on their belief systems. These are not based on any scientific notion or a germ theory of disease. These are our ideas and thinking. And unless we change these ideas, I think we're going to remain backward for a very long time. So it's, I think, high time we change these ideas, dig deep, introspect, and move forward. Thank you.